Well, today I'm looking at the redesigned Honda Odyssey Minivan. And in my circle of friends, people that have a little bit more money, that want to have more of a prestige van, this is the one that they gravitate towards. It's kind of like the aspirational minivan. There's lots of good products out on the road, but Honda certainly has developed a niche for itself as sort of the premium minivan. And they have moved the price up on this 2018 model. We'll get to that in a moment. It's totally redesigned. It's got crisper, sharper lines down the side. One of the biggest complaints I had of the previous model is the fact that the track for the sliding rear doors was highly visible. Now it's hidden like most other manufacturers do, just by the rear window. So it has a crisper look. The one we have here is the Touring, which gets the LED lights along the front. Around the back, the opening is a little bit bigger, making it easy to get things in and out of. Not going to talk too much about the third row of seats. It's the second row and the front row of seats where the magic literally happens. So opening the sliding door, Honda claims that this has the lowest step-in height in its class. And in the second row are what they call magic slide seats. This vehicle now has the ability to take 8 passengers. There's a jump seat in the middle that you need to remove. It doesn't store in the vehicle, you need to put it in your garage. And it is a little bit heavy to get in and out. Okay, so when that is removed, you can then slide the 2 captain's chairs that you've created either together or apart. And if you've ever had kids on a long trip, sometimes they want to be together, often they don't. The other nice thing is if you have a child seat tethered into the newly created captain's chair, you can slide it to one side to gain access to the third row without having to flip and fold the seat at all. Now the Odyssey sure has cleaned up its act over the last few years, and that's because the head units are much more powerful now. This is a standard 8-inch screen on all Odysseys, whether it's the base or the top Touring, and it has pages you can swipe through and different applications, and you can arrange the applications any way you like. So Honda has done a very good job of adding Android Auto and Apple CarPlay to almost its entire fleet of vehicles, so that's a definite plus. So it has a very modern and futuristic look. There's an area underneath the center of the dash where you could put a purse or a briefcase or to stop things from sliding around, so that's certainly handy. Now, I haven't talked about the kind of elephant here in the dashboard, and that's the push button shifter. I'm no fan of this in either Honda or Acura products. It takes up space, the same space there would be for a shifter. I like the old column mounted shifters. I like the ones that stuck out of the dash. I like them down here. But this push button thing, I really don't get it. It doesn't make it better. It's kind of like the answer to the question nobody was really asking. Now, the good news is they have cleaned this up. It does look pretty good, but that is something I'm not loving. There's 2 big changes for this Odyssey. First of all, they've added 32 more horsepower, brings the power up to 280 horsepower from a 3.5-liter V6. So that's good, you get more power. Now, to offset the power in the fuel consumption area, they've added extra gears to the transmission. There's a standard 9-speed automatic transmission in the Odyssey. If you get the top Touring, you get a 10-speed automatic. Now, the 9-speed is derived from ZF. The transmission manufacturer has been used across many different brands with varying success. I didn't like it when I first drove it in the Pilot, but I drove another Honda product with it lately and I thought it was improved. So this Touring gets the 10-speed. It isn't made by ZF. It's an in-house 10-speed box, and often they bring out new transmissions in their top model and eventually percolate them down to the lower trim levels as the models go by. This one is very smooth and refined. I'm going to hold off judgment because I'd like to drive a few more products with this transmission in it, but it's interesting to see that they've gone to 10 gears. And what that enables them to do is to keep the fuel consumption the same. It's able to get 12.6 liters per 100 kilometers in the city and 8.4 on the highway, which is pretty good for a large vehicle like this. Other improvements you can't see: improved rigidity. That's the same with every new car we get these days. Quieter, that's the same thing. I could tell you when I go to one of these press launches, they're going to say it's more rigid, it's quieter, it's more refined, it's more upscale. So this has all of that. You'd have to drive the old Odyssey back to back to tell the difference. But my time with this one, I'm enjoying it. And the 10-speed does feel pretty good. But as I mentioned, I'm going to hold off to see what it's like in the long run. Another thing they've done is they've added Honda Sensing. That's their advanced safety suite: forward collision warning, automatic braking, lane departure, lane mitigation. All of that is now standard on every single Odyssey because Toyota has come out saying that their safety system will be standard on all their cars by the end of this year. So Honda had to include that in this product. So the Honda Odyssey starts right around $35,000 in Canada. The top touring model I have here is right around $50,000. That's a lot of money for a minivan. Most people will shop in the middle EX trim, and you get the Shop Vac inside available on that EX and above now. Now this is a much better looking design in my opinion. I like the fact they've added the large screen as standard equipment, Android Auto, Apple CarPlay. You've got the Honda Advanced Safety System as standard equipment and more power. That's all good news. I'm not thrilled about the shifter and the way it's placed, and 9 and 10 gears. Kind of the answer to the question nobody was really asking. So we're gonna have to wait and see just how reliable these new transmissions are. So there's a lot of features packed into this new Odyssey. They've pushed the price up. It's getting expensive, but as I mentioned, it's aspirational.